Okay, today guys, we're going to work on dividing decimals still. We're on lesson 15. So we're still working on dividing numbers with decimals. Today, some of our answers will have a zero in our ones place. And so it's a little bit different, but we're going to keep expanding on our knowledge of dividing with decimals and keep practicing. Okay, so let's get started again. So our first problem we're going to do today is 1 and 7/10 divided by 2. And again, remember we can write after divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, repeat. So again, there's just our steps that we are using every single time we divide a number. For the first thing, we're going to rewrite it in our bracket. So 1.7 in the inside and our 2 on the outside. And again, remember, bring your decimal straight up into your answer already, please. So please remember to do that immediately. And then we're going to get started. So again, we're going to think, how many times can 2 go into 1? So if I count by 2s and I say 2, well, 2 is greater than 1, so it can go in 0 times. So 2 can go into 1 0 times. It cannot go in there at all. And then I'm going to think, and I can move on. Then I can think larger. How many times can 2 go into 17? So I'm going to think of it as 17. I can think of it as 17 tenths. So I'm going to count by 2s. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. Well, 18 is too much, so I have 8 fingers holding up. So I know that an 8, 2 can go into 17 tenths, 8 times. And it's going to go on top of the 7 because we divided into the whole 17 and not just into the 1. So there is our first division. So now we're going to multiply. 8 times 2 is 16. So I put my 16 underneath there. Now I will subtract. 17 minus 16 is 1. And now you will see today where we're going to add on. Because we're doing decimals, I have nothing to bring down, but I still have a digit down there, and we are not going to have remainders. I'm going to add a 0 onto the end of this and bring down a 0. So when I add a 0 onto the end there, I am not changing the value of that number, but I'm changing what it looked like. I changed my 7 tenths into 70 hundredths. So I took those tenths and I chopped them into smaller pieces. And now I can divide. I can do 2 into 10. I count by 2s. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I have 5 fingers up. So that means that 2 can go into 10 5 times. 5 times 2 is 10. Subtract. Now I have 0 and have nothing else to bring down, so I know my answer is done there. So today's lesson, remember, when we have that digit, we're going to add a 0 onto the end and bring it down and finish dividing out. So now let's check our work. We're going to take our answer, put it on top, multiply it to our divisor. So 2 times 5 is 10. Regroup my 1. 2 times 8 is 16 plus 1 is 7. Regroup 17, regroup my 1. And 2 times 0 is 0 plus 1 is 1. My problem is in hundredths, so I need my answer to be in hundredths. And so I know that this checks. I have 1 in 70 hundredths, 1 in 70 hundredths there, so my answer is correct. So that checks out today. Okay, let's do another one. So you'll start seeing to be able to get a little bit faster with these now. So we're going to do 2 and 6/10 divided by 4. So again, let's rewrite it. 2 and 6/10 or 26/10 divided by 4. And I'm going to put my decimal straight up into my answer immediately. And then we will start dividing. So I think, well, how many times can 4 go into 2? If I start counting by 4 and I say 4, well, 4 is already automatically larger than that number, so I know that it goes in 0 times. Then I'm going to think larger. How many times can 4 go into 26? Well, let's count by 4s. So we're going to go 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 27. So we know that that is 28, sorry. Then we know that that is too large, so we know that it can go in 6 times, which is 24. So I'm going to put a 6 on top of my 6 because that is where I have divided into the whole thing, not just to the 2. So 6 times 4 is 24. Put my 24 underneath. I subtract. 26 minus 24 is 2. I have nothing to bring down, but I still have a digit here, so we are not done. I'm going to add a 0 onto the end, so I'm going to change it to 60 hundredths and bring that 0 down. And so now I can do my division, and I can think how many times will 4 go into 20. So I'm going to count by 4s. 4, 8, 16. Sorry, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. So 5 times. So 5 times 4 is 20. I'm going to subtract 0, and I have nothing else to bring down. So my answer is 65 hundredths. I'm going to check it by multiplying. We'll see if we are correct. 4 times 5 is 20. Regroup my 2. 4 times 6 is 24. Plus 2 is 26. Regroup my 2. 4 times 0 is 0. Plus 2 is 2. My problem is written in hundredths, so my answer needs to be in hundredths. So my decimal has to go between the 2 and the 6. And it checks because it comes back out to that. Okay, let's try one more. We're going to do 7 and 7/10 divided by 4. Write that division sign there a little bit better. Okay, so here we go. Let's rewrite it. Our dividend goes on the inside, divisor on the outside, decimal straight up into our answer immediately. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to think, how many times can 4 go into 7? Well, 4, 8. Well, 8 is too large, so I know it can go in 1 time. That's our division. 1 times 4 is 4. I can subtract. 7 minus 4 is 3. So I've subtracted. Then I'm going to bring down the next number, which is 7. And then I'm going to think, how many times can 4 go into 37? We're going to count by 4s. So again, 4. And if you're thinking about this is 4 times 1. This is 4 times 2, right? So 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. So there's 5 fingers, 20, right? 24, 28, 32, 36, 40. Well, 10 is too many. That's 40, so I have to go back down to the 9. So 36. So 9 times 4 is 36. Subtract. I'm left over with 1. I'm going to add a 0 onto the top of there. Bring that all the way down. Now I have 10. 4 into 10. 4, 8, 12. So we can go 2 times. So I'm going to put a 2 there. 2 times 4 is 8. I'm going to subtract. 10 minus 8 is 2. I still have a digit here. So I'm going to add even another 0 onto up there and bring that all the way down. So I can continue to add a 0 onto the end when I'm dividing. Now I'm going to think 4 into 20. Count 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. So it can go in 5 times exactly. That's going to go on top of that 0. 5 times 4 is 20. Subtract. I have 0. So now I have 0 and there's nothing else to bring down. So now I'm going to check my answer. I'm going to take my answer 1 and 925 thousandths times 4. So pretty long number there. So there you can also see that I can continue to add zeros. So 5 times 4 is 20. Regroup my 2. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 2 is 10. Regroup my 1. 4 times 9 is 36, plus 1 is 37. Regroup my 3, 7 there. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 3 is 7. And I have 1, 2, 3, 3 digits after my decimal, so I have to have 3 digits after my decimal. And my answer checks.